We're going to look at this problem right here, number 18. It says the tangent of the inverse sine of 0.1. 0.1 is a ratio. And when we are looking to calculate the inverse trig functions, we have to think about the domain. So the domain of this function, remember, the domain for inverse sine, also called arcsine. So the arcsine of x equals y. The domain is the value that you can put in. Arcsine is just another way to say inverse sine. Okay? So the domain is that input. That's the ratio. And the ratio that's allowed to be put into the inverse sine goes from -1 to +1. So this is in interval notation. 0.1 is most definitely between -1 and +1. So this is allowed. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say the inverse sine. I'm going to do my partial unit circle. Okay. A positive is going to put me in quadrant 1. So when I want to get an output of 0.1 for sine, remember sine is the y value, it's this angle right here. So I'm going to zoom in on that. It's this angle. Let's grab a red pen. That angle right there. I don't know what that angle is. I have no idea what that angle is. The inverse sine of 0.1 is some angle. I'll call it theta. The tangent of theta is equal to what value? So I'm going to draw a triangle. So now I'm going to make that angle bigger. So I've taken this angle and I've just made it bigger right here. I've blown it up. And we know that inverse sine, the input is a ratio, and that ratio is opposite over hypotenuse. So I'm going to draw a triangle, 0.1 and then 1. And then I need to figure out what this missing side length is. This missing side length is going to be the square root of 1 squared minus 1/10 squared, which is 100. 1 over 100. So 1 squared minus 1 over 100, that's the same thing as 100 over 100 minus 1 over 100, which is the square root of 99 over 100. So we're talking about the square root of 99 over 10. That's also able to be written 3 times the square root of 11 over 10. Okay, so I'm doing this all without a calculator. So now I'm going to come back over here. Here's my opposite side. My adjacent side is this side right here, and it is equal to that right there. So the tangent of theta is equal to 1/10, that's the opposite side, over 3 times the square root of 11 over 10. And that's equal to 1 over 3 times the square root of 11. So if I multiply this by the square root of 11 to rationalize the denominator, I get the square root of 11 over 3 times 11, which is 33. And that's what the tangent of theta is. So this is equal to the square root of 11 over 33. And if you put that into your calculator, you should get the decimal that perhaps an answer key might have. But that's how you get this all the way without using a calculator.